Good afternoon, and welcome to our Artist Grant Writing Workshop. I'm Brenda Byron, Executive Director of Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council. We award grants in the 9-county area for artists and arts organizations. We're going to be talking specifically about artist grants, and also we want to let you know what funding we have available. We have two main sources of arts funding. It comes from the State Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the General Fund from the Minnesota State Legislature and the McKnight Foundation. Our McKnight Foundation funds are about 9% of our overall budget. And we use these funds specifically for our artist grants. The mission of Prairie Lakes is to serve the artistic communities of the 9-county area of South Central Minnesota by supporting the creation and presentation of diverse art forms, fostering equitable access to arts opportunities, and integrating arts and culture to enhance quality of life in our communities. From the map, you can see that we cover the 9-county area. We have an equity and inclusion statement. This has been around for about 2 years, and we're also focusing on having artists of color apply. Prairie Lakes values an equitable and diverse and inclusive community, and this is reflected in our policies and programs. We are committed to countering systems of inequities that exclude disabilities and individuals and communities from access to the arts based on race, gender, disability, national origin, sexual orientation, class, age, and geography. This may include historically marginalized and underserved groups, such as Black, Indigenous, and people of color, economically disadvantaged, youth and seniors, people with disabilities, and LGBTQ community. So we are encouraging artists of these communities and underserved areas to apply for our artist grants. We have one artist grant program this year, and it's called the Artist Development Grant. This is for artists age 18 and above. The grant size is $1,500. The deadline for these grants is September 1st, and projects are for your own personal development in your skill and artistic achievements. The timeline is the project should be completed within 1 year. So you need to decide, are you going to work on this project for a few months, over just the winter? Are you going to take the full 12 months? We encourage applications from all artistic disciplines. On average, we have 24 artist grants that are awarded annually. And Prairie Lakes plans to increase that number of artist grants in September 2021. So that's really called Fiscal Year 2022. It begins July 1st. So these artist grants, we're going to have $49,500 to award. So that $1,500 grants will be awarded to 33 individual artists. Our applications can be from all artistic disciplines, which include dance, literature, media arts, music, theater, visual art, folk art, traditional arts, etc. Artists may expand their present work, advance in skill or technique, or move in a new direction. And remember, this is for a specific project that contributes directly to your artistic development. There are a few components of the application itself. So there is the project description and the timeline, and then artist questions. So I'll walk through several of the artist questions, and then a budget form. And you're encouraged to apply online. These are online applications that we have. So you would go to the Prairie Lakes website. You would click on that button that says Applicant Login, and you would access our online grant system. And then also the arrow at the bottom shows we have a tutorial on our website, which is a PDF document you can download, and that explains all the details about creating your account online and how to apply. When you get started, you'll go to this page and it says create an email address and password. So this would be the normal email address you use. You'd create a password specific to you. Also, we encourage people to make it simple. Have it just be your first and last name, all lowercase, all together. That way it's easy to remember, or pick something else that's easier to remember for you. Then it takes you to something we call the Applicant Dashboard. On this dashboard, you'll see several things, And basically in the left-hand corner, you'll see how to apply. So you actually click on that icon and that will start the application form, which then will list several questions that you'll answer. One of the main things to remember too as you get started is you need to collect all the information for your application in a Word document. And on our website, on that page under Grants on our website, there's the Word document of all the questions. So you really want to start to answer those questions in the Word document. And when you're done with that, you're going to cut and paste that information into the online application. And all of these details are also in the grant guidelines for artists on our website. So those are important things to copy and save into a folder on your computer so that you can reference them. I'm just hitting the highlights in this grant writing workshop. So here's some of the questions that you'll answer. 1, describe the project you'll carry out with these grant funds. Provide as much detail as possible, like what are you going to do, where is it going to take place, when is it going to happen. And that's also part of the timeline. Are you going to take several months? Are you going to try to get it done in a few months? How will you fit this in during your job and other things you're doing and complete this artist project? You're also going to explain your financial need and how this grant will help you stay creative during this challenging time of COVID. Also tell us how has COVID affected you and your practice as an artist. Number 5, describe where you are now as an artist. What are you doing presently? What are you working on? What are your goals right now? Then 6, describe your career goals in general. What do you want to be doing in the future, in the next year or two? And then 7, how is this project going to help you in your career development? Is it going to get you to the next level? Are you going to be able to display your work not just in Mankato, but maybe the Twin Cities? Are you going to get a video? Are you going to post that on YouTube and on your website? What are you going to do? How is this going to get you to the next level in your career? Number 8 is about your artist statement. An artist statement really explains the details about what you're doing with your work. It explains how you're doing it. What are the materials? What are the tools you use? And you're going to give some specific information. So this is the narrative way to describe what your work is about. And what? Explain what it's about. What are the concepts? What are you trying to communicate? Is there a certain theme? And be as specific as you can. And why is that important? What does that say about you as an artist? There are several other things that artist grants can be used for. Artists can use their money for supplies and equipment. Maybe you want to attend a workshop, do a training online, you want to do some research, maybe you want to do a mentorship with another artist. Those are all acceptable uses of the money. You can also use it for creative time and living expenses. If you really have the supplies you need and you just need that time to pay yourself an amount over several hours, over several months, that's allowed, as well as maybe you want to pay rent for a month while you're working specifically on this project. It can also be used for presentation costs involved in a visual art show, a portfolio, studio time. It can be for editorial assistance for a writer. So there's a variety of things you can use the money for. And you can always discuss with me your project, and I'd be happy to look at examples or some of the questions that you start to answer before you actually apply for the grant. As we said, the grant is due in September, so you have a few months to get ready and start laying out a plan. There's also several documents that are required. That's your artist resume, that talks about your educational background, if you've published anything, if you've had exhibits, everything like that is on a resume. Then it's the actual work samples. Are you a visual artist? Are you going to upload JPEG images? Are you going to be a literary artist? You're going to give us pages of your writing work sample. Are you a musician or a video person? Then you want to give us a link to a location where you've hosted that document or that work sample. Then there's the work sample description page, and that just tells us what did you send us. List the 5 images you sent. Tell us a description of your literary work or your music. Who are you? What are you doing? Are you the musician performing? Are you the musician playing the music? In that description, you're giving us some details of those work samples and what it is about. Then the other required document is proof of residency in the 9-county area. And that's your driver's license, a Minnesota ID card, etc. It's also helpful if you know there are artist grant review criteria that our board members use to review these grants. So we have board members from the 9-county area that review your work samples and your application online. There's a point scale of 10 points for each of these categories. So it's something to think about as you're writing the grant. This is how you're evaluated. What's the project's contribution to your artistic growth? Is there evidence of your serious artistic commitment by how you answered those questions, by what your resume says, and about your work samples? And that's demonstration of work and exceptional talent that they can see by the information that you've submitted. The grant review process is that our board does review these meetings monthly. These board members do live in the 9-county area, and they represent a variety of artistic disciplines. So they will use that grant review criteria to score and rank each of the artist applications. And you as an artist can attend that meeting, which is open to the public. And I said, meetings are held virtually on the 4th Thursday of the month. So if you apply in September, you'll also attend a meeting later that month, September. So you're welcome to hear the discussion and hear about all of the artists that had applied for the grant. And here's about notification if your grant is awarded. So artists receive an email from our office, if they're funded or not, the day after the board meeting. And you as an artist grantee would be required to come to a training meeting where I will talk about the processes of submitting an online contract, what are your responsibilities, and go over some of the details. And as I said, our funds for this grant are provided by the McKnight Foundation. If you have further questions or if you just want to discuss your project idea, feel free to give me a call or email our office. Again, I'm Brenda Byron, Executive Director, Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council. Our office is in Waseca, and you can contact us by email, phone, and all information about the artist grants is on our website, which is plrac.org. As I mentioned, there's also a printed tutorial of this workshop itself, so you'd have all the pages to look at if you want to reference it later. And there's a tutorial of all the ways you start an account, fill out the application online on our website. We look forward to talking to you, and good luck with your artist projects. Thanks.